Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Hope things are well. It's fair to say you are all doing well after once again Newcastle United winning a game of football. That is now 9 games across all competitions we have won in a row. Isak is actually chasing down the record of Jamie Vardy. 8 games in a row he has scored. And Newcastle are just on cloud nine at the minute. And in terms of transfers, we've said it all window long. If Newcastle was to buy in this window, they will sell first. And it looks like finally Newcastle will have a player going out the door, as it's now expected that Miguel Almiron will return to his former club, Atlanta United, for a fee of £10 million. Now, you know what? For a 31-year-old player that we signed back in 2019, £10 million, that's good money for him. Now, you got to remember, in the summer, Charlotte FC attempted to sign Miggy. I think they bidded £8 million, so we actually kept him for additional 6 months and still sought him for more money. Now, it's not just the £10 million we're getting for Miggy that's a good thing. It's clearing his wage. Now, across a calendar year, I believe he had his wage together, comes up to about £4 million. So actually selling him now instead of the summer will not just give Newcastle the £10 million in the sale that we will receive now, but also gives Newcastle an additional £2 million that would have been spent in wages. So it's effectively a £12 million sign that Newcastle got for selling him now instead of the summer. And I'm going to put my hand up now. I think it's fair and important to remember that we do have to show respect to all our players. Now, admittedly, to give you my honest answer now, yes, I'm glad we are selling Miggy. I felt like we probably should have sought him in the summer, if not perhaps even a season before that. But again, this guy, during that purple patch that he had for Newcastle, scored a lot of important goals that got Newcastle Champions League football, and he also scored Newcastle's first Champions League goal in over 20 years. So again, you do have to show him respect. Yes, I can come out now and say that I'm glad that we are selling Almiron. I feel like it is a correct sale to make, but at the same time, you do have to also show him respect. But the reality is, it's good money to get him for. Now, the issue being is that reports coming out from the likes of Craig Hope are suggesting that despite selling Miggy, Newcastle are not planning at this time to sign any players, which is a dangerous game to play, especially out wide, because we have been lacking that right winger for years now. To be fair to Jacob Murphy, though, he's got good numbers this season. He's got a lot of assists and he has scored a few goals, but he's our only right-sided player. So if he gets injured, we've got no one. And that's something that Newcastle do need to be wary of. Now, the easy argument to make at the minute is that Newcastle's winning every single match, regardless of who's on the bench. We are winning all the games with the start 11. But the second we get an injury, the second we get a suspension, that could all completely fall apart. So it's important that we have additional squad depth on that bench to make sure we have options and tactics where Eddie Howe has got areas to move around with. And I feel like I don't want to be negative because Newcastle's won 9 games in a row, but I've heard the likes of Alan Shearer yesterday come on BBC Sport and they've suggested that Newcastle United is in a title race. Now, yes, it is true. If Liverpool win their game in hand, they are 12 points clear. And it is true that a team in the Premier League has dropped the 12-point title race before. However, Newcastle United is the only team that has ever done that in the Premier League. And not to mention, if Newcastle was to win every single game for the rest of the season, we would finish on 89 points. Now, 89 points in the Premier League would not last season have won Newcastle the Premier League. That is how high the title gap is now. And despite how unbelievable Newcastle has been, to suggest we are on a title race this early, I think it's a bit premature, and I think it's important not to set unrealistic expectations. Eddie Howe and the players, we don't want to overwhelm them with all of these expectations coming in. We haven't won a domestic major in 70 years. We are 90 minutes away from a cup final. Let's start and I don't want to be that guy, but let's start on perhaps a smaller scale. Let's just win the Carabao Cup. Let's win something. Like we can win a trophy this season. That'll be an unbelievable return for Newcastle. And in the league, let's just get Champions League football. Let's try and get top 4. Hell, even top 5 this season will likely give Newcastle Champions League football. So if we finish in the top 5, Champions League football, and potentially winning something like that's an unbelievable season for anyone associated with Newcastle. But I was a bit vocal about that in social media. I don't think Newcastle are in a title race. I really don't think we are. Yes, we're playing unbelievably well. We've had an exceptional month, but again, like you've got to be flawless all season if you are to win any Premier League these days. The standard difference is just that big, and Liverpool have been clearly the best team in the league this season. Let's just take it one game at a time, but please don't have any unrealistic expectations. I feel like it's my message there. And if Newcastle don't buy in this window, then 100% do not have any expectations that we're going to win the league, because Newcastle at the minute just want to take it one game at a time now. Would Newcastle actually buy in this window though? Because I mentioned before, the likes of Craig Hope stating that Newcastle aren't looking to buy at the minute. But would that mentality change perhaps towards the end of the window? It doesn't look to be that way, to be honest. Newcastle haven't been active at all in this window. We are well and truly more than halfway into the window now. Newcastle haven't really attempted to buy. There's been a couple of murmurings in there. We haven't even tried a loan apply, and Newcastle just haven't found any options. I think I highlighted the window so far really has been keeping Martin Tabradka down, because at one stage he was going to leave Newcastle, then Newcastle then changed their mind and just switched and stuck with Tabradka, and obviously he's been doing unbelievable at the minute. But that's something I highlighted the window, just keeping a hold of an important goalkeeper. But other than that, we haven't actually explored any the options. We haven't really kind of got our knees dirty. Haven't went in there for anyone. It's again, it's more of a long game for Newcastle, because if we don't buy this window, we will look quite good in the summer window. But if we buy now, then again, the PSR sales might pop up. Newcastle might have to sell, and then Newcastle might not be able to go in for players straight away in the summer. But it's a gamble. However, I think it's a gamble Newcastle probably could pull off. I feel like we can. Again, though, it's just a bit of luck. Isak, Tonali and Murphy, those three will completely dictate our season, and Tabradka, to be fair as well. Those four, if any of those four get injured, we are screwed. Probably the fair argument to make there. So it's a bit of a tight one to kind of talk about, but again, it needs to be a good option for Newcastle to go in for. Now, as for our sales, obviously Lloyd Kelly's been a big talking point over the last couple of days. I haven't spoken about Lloyd Kelly just yet. I actually agreed with Newcastle rejecting £12 million for Fenerbahce. Craig Hope claimed it was £8 million, but let's say it was £12 million for the argument. I still think that's low for Lloyd Kelly, even though you guys may disagree with that. You got to remember, yes, okay, Lloyd Kelly was a free signing, but he's a 26-year-old English centre-half who I still believe is a good player. Now, I know he hasn't kicked on for Newcastle, and I wouldn't say he's been good for Newcastle, but again, he's an important squad depth player. He's someone that I think does have a value. I think he does have value as a football player. Now, the argument against Lloyd Kelly is his wage. Surely he's not on 150 grand a week, by the way. Now, you've got to look at our wage gap with Newcastle. If those wages are accurate, Lloyd Kelly's our joint second highest paid player, which means he's on more money than Sandro Tonali, more money than Sven Botman, more money than... I mean, just look at some of these options. He's got more money than Isak. Like, that can't be true. Surely that's not true. I get that he's a free agent. I get that he's able to get a higher wage at football clubs because he is a free agent. But he was on 30 grand a week at Bournemouth. Surely he's not getting paid 5 times the money at Newcastle. I don't think that's true, to be honest. I know a lot of the wage transfer websites are claiming that, but again, I'm not fully convinced he's on 150 grand a week. I mean, if he fills out his 5-year contract in Newcastle, that's £39 million in wages we would be paying Lloyd Kelly. That cannot be true. Surely that's not true. That's all I'm saying about that one. But again, with Lloyd Kelly, unless it's like, I mean, you're talking minimum £15 million in my opinion. I think he is worth money, and I would be, if Newcastle, I'll be ruthless and I would wait it out until only a mega offer comes in. Because again, you don't want to let go of your players when we're not buying anyone. So Newcastle do have to be careful if we are to sell. I know Lloyd Kelly's not a starting player for Newcastle, but I still think he has a lot of value at this club, and I wouldn't sell him for anything less than 15 million. Just my opinion. You may disagree with that one, but Newcastle, I guess, coming out with this video and coming out with your expectations of what you should expect from Newcastle, just carve it down is perhaps the message. Again, I love the optimism, I love the ambition. Yes, Newcastle should be ambitious, but again, we just aren't going to win the league this season. I'm going to be honest. Again, please don't shoot down the messenger, but yeah, I don't want Eddie Howe and the Press up unrealistic expectations. Let's get Champions League football. Let's try and win a trophy. that we can do that. That is doable. But winning the Premier League with how good Liverpool have been, I don't think we're going to do it. But again, you are all entitled to have your own opinions. That's what the point of these sort of videos are. Make sure you all have your own mindset in Newcastle and your own expectations. But for me, let's just try and win something first. We haven't done that in 70 years, so let's just try and get that one over the line first. But yeah, Newcastle again being exceptional. Bournemouth on Saturday is big. If we want to have that aspiration, we most certainly need to beat Bournemouth. And if we beat Bournemouth, Newcastle would almost guarantee themselves some form of European football, because the gap from the top 6 to anywhere below that will become quite big. So if Newcastle, unless we absolutely choke it, we should be finishing in the top 6, top 7. That I can't really see us not. So yeah, we're looking good in that aspect. But in terms of this video though, thank you, Miggy. Appreciate your services, but it should have been sorted long ago, and now is a good time to sell them. So yeah, that we get that one over and done with first, and then we can potentially bring some players in. But let me know your thoughts, guys. We'll see you all in the next one.